Hello and welcome back to Aetheral Space 9.27 Freedom. We are back.
Freedom!
It's a bit later than usual because
Yes.
I was out partying last night.
Yeah, there's this fucked up timeline right now where people in Aetheral, there are people who've read this chapter before I have,
This
and
is
that's not okay.
unprecedented.
Well, it's happened a couple times. But,
No, never happened
yes, Tan and I both had a good time last night. I think Tan was at an actual party, and me and two guys watched Saw 2 and played Villainous for like 5 hours.
Interesting.
Have you ever played Villainous, Tan? I think
played.
you'd like it. It's a board game where you play as Disney villains, and each Disney villain has like a unique deck and fate deck, and you have to like complete an objective. So, for example, as Jafar, I had to get the magic lamp to the palace and control Genie. Yeah, exactly. And there's Gaston. He has to eliminate all 8 obstacles on his board to convince Belle that he's the right option over the
To get
beast.
with Belle.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Belle's one of the
dating sim.
Except Belle's one of the enemies, and you have to kill her to progress.
Jesus.
Yeah, but it's very. Yeah, but each villain has like a unique board and mechanics, and they all have a different goal. But you can fuck with the other people playing by playing fate cards on them. So, like an example of that would be like my friend was Yzma. I can summon like the kids that like tarred and feathered her, and then he has to defeat them before he can get further in his goal. It's very fun.
Interesting.
Yeah. But you're not here for that. You're here for an Aetheral Space. You're here for an Aetheral Space recap / reading. So last time on Aetheral Space, Dragon rescued Mila, but he had to leave Musashi behind, who was carried away by Gertrude. So he was like, "We're executing a twofold plan. Some of us are going to go rescue Musashi, and some of us were going to go do a second thing that I forgot about.
Get Helga.
What is this? Get Helga." And then, in the meantime, Skipper was blasting through... Was it the Eliza?
Yeah, the Paradisus ship, the Eliza.
Yeah, because he's trying to get to the Paradisuses. And then the head Paradisus Apex Bishop summoned this giant robot called Hierophant. It was like, if you beat this, then we'll talk.
Exactly. You remember perfectly.
Yeah, except for that part where I forgot about rescuing Helga, but whatever. That was close. Item was recovered attempting to traverse the Valercian Sea, believed to be heading to local fishing settlements. Intentions presumed hostile based on its response to retrieval craft. 16 retrieval personnel killed, 19 more severely injured. Item was finally disabled via long-range attack applied by retrieval specialist Mirko. Analysis of the recovered item shows critical damage to exterior systems. In addition, the design of its attack limbs is heavily outdated and requires retrofitting. Current estimate is a 6-month timeline for repair, retrofitting, and reprogramming. Acquisition log. Hierophant. The Hierophant engaged. Target was a male human, estimated 40 to 50, wearing a green long coat. Length of long coat could be used to confuse sensors or conceal weaponry. Noted. Target was not in possession of any visible weaponry. Noted. Estimated time to victory, 0.5 seconds. The Hierophant lashed out with arms L2 and R2, striking the spot where Target had been standing in 0.5 seconds. Accuracy had been reduced due to speed of attack, but simulations suggested that the attack should hit all the same. Correcting, neither arm had made contact with Target. The Hierophant searched with the sensors covering its body, locating Target a second later. He had taken to the air, green energy sparking around him as he ascended to the ceiling. As the Hierophant reacquired Target, he pointed down with one finger. There was an attack. Damage sustained. Immediately, the Hierophant slowed down its perception of time to its utmost, all things around it seeming to freeze in place. First, it ran a diagnostic. The damage it had suffered was a minor dent to its outer shell. Systems were unaffected. Immediate repair was not required. Next, it considered the attack that had struck it. The distance between itself and Target was such that no physical blow should have made contact. Target held no weaponry, so he could not have used a pistol or rifle to fire upon the Hierophant. Correction. Target could have used some kind of cloaking device to conceal his weaponry, but the benefit of such a tactic was limited. The Hierophant disposed of that theory quickly. The green energy was the identifying factor. The Hierophant pulled up ancient records from the battles following its activation, analyzing footage of units that had fought alongside and against it. That energy, superficially resembling electricity, had been visible around them as well. They too had displayed abilities that defied expectations. Aether, then. This man had the ability to launch invisible ranged attacks, but what form did they take? The Hierophant replayed the memory of the damage, analyzing it thoroughly. A flare in the aether, a sound like a gunshot, and then the attack had landed. Correction. The sound and the attack had been simultaneous, without even a microsecond interval. Conclusion: the sound itself had been the attack. This man's Aether ability allowed him to attack using sound as a physical object. This allowed him to execute ranged attacks without use of a weapon. He was now understood. Estimated time to victory: 1 minute 6 seconds. Skipper didn't let up for a second. He flew through the air, heartbeat shotguns blasting him in the directions he needed to move, dancing and dodging around the flurry of blows aimed for him. The Hierophant's liquid metal arms were lighter and faster than he'd expected. At full speed, the 6 limbs were little more than gray blurs, each capable of smashing him into paste. They were flexible, too, writhing and turning in ways that wouldn't be possible for jointed limbs. They were more like tentacles, all in all. His first attack had landed, creating a small dent on the Hierophant's main body, but since then it had just blocked his attacks using its limbs. It was clearly capable of detecting his heartbeat shotguns and moving to intercept them. The Hierophant updated its strategy. Before the Aether attack came, the energy surrounding the target brightened by 0.2 lumens. That increase would be difficult for the human eye to see, but the Hierophant was more than capable of detecting it. When the energy brightened, the attack came without fail 0.5 seconds later. Direction of attack could also be determined by an aggregate of the target's eye line and the angle of his arm. Using these tells, it was a simple matter to block any incoming attacks. Arm R1 was assigned to that task. Attacks that disrupted the integrity of the liquid metal could easily be repaired. Arm R2 would take over blocking duties for the 2.4 seconds that took. Target speed, however, was such that no attacks from the Hierophant's remaining 4 arms had yet landed. By creating sound blasts directly out of his body, he could control the direction of his flight, efficiently evading the incoming strikes. On each occasion, he dodged at the last possible second, preventing the Hierophant from effectively taking advantage of a recovery period. Target was clearly highly skilled, but he was understood. These strikes had only been intended to dispatch the target for the first 10 seconds of combat. Once the strategy was confirmed ineffective as a killing measure, the Hierophant adjusted its objective accordingly. Wrong,
Maybe
by
the
striking
Hierophant
at precise...
knows more than you. Maybe it understands.
By striking at precise angles and precise times, the Hierophant could control the directions available for the target to dodge, and so the target would slowly be cornered in one part of the room. Chances of victory would naturally increase as that occurred. Estimated time to victory, 44 seconds. You think I'm a one-trick pony, don't you, Scrap Ape? Skipper grinned halfway through his somersault, eyes hidden behind his hair as his Aether flared. Immediately the Hierophant's topmost right arm moved to dodge. There was no doubt about it. The automatic had learned to detect when he was about to use his Aether. Well, it had only seen heartbeat shotguns so far. Time to introduce it to the rest of the gang. Heartbeat bayonet! Damage sustained. Arm R1 not responding. Immediate diagnosis of the issue was required. Time froze, or it slowed to such a degree that the distinction was meaningless. The Hierophant took stock of things. Arm R1 was on the ground, severed cleanly from the Hierophant at the point of attachment. The fact that the Hierophant was no longer receiving signals from it meant that the control unit had been destroyed in the attack too. Recovery under these conditions was not practical. Blocking duty was reassigned fully to Arm R2, with R3 taking R2's place as a backup. The Hierophant adjusted the attack algorithms for arms L1 through 3, increasing their speed and destructive capabilities to compensate for the lesser number of arms that would be attacking the enemy. Analysis of the damage suggested a slashing attack of some sort, rather than the targeted shock waves that had been used previously. Replay of memory confirmed the presence of a whistling sound in the moment before the attack, along with the increase in aetheral brightness. Oh, what happened to the sound being the attack, huh? Bayonet hacks? What's this?
The whistle moves around more.
The conclusion was simple. The enemy had multiple ways of attacking with sound, not just the shooting style he had originally displayed. Izuku Midoriya?
I just thought that wasn't even intentional.
Shooting style, Skipper!
Full cowling, shoot style, Earth Force!
Is Heartbeat Freedom like Heartbeat Full Cowling? Strategy would have to be adjusted to compensate for this. The Hierophant directed the control units of its remaining arms to be moved continuously through the liquid metal, creating more inconsistent targets. That would make the slashing attack less effective. However, it did not solve the issue at hand. Right now, the Hierophant did not have complete information on the enemy's capabilities. If the target was to reveal another form of attack, one that had not yet been adapted to, it could mean more damage. Information gathering was necessary before a kill could be completed. Time resumed. Estimated time to victory, 2 minutes 19 seconds. For the first time in this fight, Skipper felt a bead of sweat trickle down his forehead. What?
Torrent downloads.
Skipper felt a bead of
2
sweat
years
trickle
left.
down his forehead. 2 years. It will never be complete. It had been a while since he'd had to fight so earnestly. With each near miss, Skipper could feel the chill of death engulf him. The hands reaching for him changed shape faster than he could keep track. From spears to staves to swords to spinning saws, each designed to end his life as gruesomely as possible. They'd adjusted to his heartbeat bayonet, too, the sections he aimed for hardening before the attack could land. He couldn't afford to waste time on these arms. They were clearly intended to, I assume, tire him out, force him to a part of the room where it was easier to corner him. The main body was what he needed to get to. He had managed to damage it with his first attack, so theoretically it was vulnerable. Alarm stabbed him in the back of the head. 3 of the arms were coming at him simultaneously from 3 different directions, preemptively positioned to cut off his escape route. He was willing to bet a 4th arm was incoming from his blind spot too, and that was the one intended to deliver the killing blow. He'd been so preoccupied with the culmination of the Hierophant's strategy that he'd neglected the dirty tricks it would try in the meantime. Dodging wasn't an option. "Heartbeat landmine!" Sound exploded around him, destroying the hands that came for him, but the liquid metal froze and hardened mid-splatter, the arms retreating as their hands returned to normal. A second later, as if nothing had happened, they resumed their normal assault. Realization dawned. That hadn't been a killing blow at all. The Hierophant was tricking him into showing off his capabilities. Omnidirectional shockwave confirmed. It was now understood. The Hierophant adjusted its tactics to compensate. If the target was capable of an attack like that, cornering him would not be an effective strategy. No matter how many arms came for him at once, he could deflect them simultaneously. Information on the shockwave attack was unclear. Was it a single attack with an opening that could be taken advantage of, or could he unleash it continuously? Current circumstances made testing the specifications of the move impractical. Resources available to the Hierophant were as follows. 5 liquid metal arms, onboard autobrain. Autobrain is like AI, right?
Yeah, that's what it's thinking from, basically.
Because I remember we heard about that in Arc 4 as well. I think the computer had an autobrain. So he's got 5 arms. Interesting.
Well,
Rubble. Right. Wait, one's like permanently cut off?
Yeah.
So he had 6 before.
Yeah.
Severed an inactive liquid metal arm, and Target. Target could unleash blasts of solid sound, but that did not necessarily mean the Hierophant could not take advantage of their existence. It took 0.9 seconds to formulate a way to do so. First, it would need to create a false opening. There! In the monotonous pattern of arms striking at him, Skipper saw a clear window through which he could strike at the Hierophant's main body. Flipping over a blow from a spiked mace, he pointed his finger at the target. Wait! This was too easy. The Hierophant was no human fighter. It was a machine with an auto-brain, designed to pursue the optimal path to victory. It wasn't capable of making such stupid mistakes as this. The emotion and fatigue that bred mistakes didn't exist within its programming. This was a trap. It wanted him to fire his heartbeat shotgun for some reason. Well, he wasn't one to disappoint. Skipper fired his heartbeat shotgun into the opening, and at the same time he released a continuous heartbeat landmine, repelling any limbs that might have tried to take advantage of his own opening. The shotgun surged forwards, visible only from a stray spark of emerald aether, and the Hierophant seized it out of the air. Strategy successful. It was understood. Arm L3 had been shifted into something like an ice cream scoop, sufficient to intercept the incoming sound attack, and then, once it met, to seal itself into a hollow sphere, forcing the sound to bounce around its confines. Rudimentary speakers within the inside of the sphere amplified the sound as it bounced, the attack growing more and more powerful. Oh, shit! Because I was about to say, wouldn't the sound just die? But I guess, oh, no. Oh, that's cool. I love the liquid arms idea. The attack growing more and more powerful, dents appearing in the liquid metal as it appeared to escape. The Hierophant waited 3 seconds for the power of the sound to reach maximum levels. And then it released it, sending the blast right back at target. Estimated time to victory, 7 seconds. Fuck, that's cool. Oh, Skipper's now ready for this. The sound was deafening, followed by a ringing of the ears. But the impact of the blast was somehow even worse. Skipper felt ribs crack as the attack brushed by him, instantly shattering his prosthetic arm into shards of useless metal and plastic. The skin on one side of his face was scraped away, leaving him bloody, and he only just managed to avoid being blinded on that side with some quick application of aether. What had happened? The Hierophant had caught his heartbeat shotgun, amplified it, then thrown it right back at him. Oh my god, he's just like Dragon. Skipper judged incorrectly. It hadn't been trying to create an opening on his part, but to send his... Oh, I lost my place because of the...
Descend.
Where was that? But to send his attack right back at him, even stronger. Just like Dragon's Gemini shotgun. Hey, I said that. Skipper chuckled briefly, and then he hit the floor. The arms came down, eager to crush him, and Skipper fired blasts out of the soles of his feet, causing him to slide across the room's smooth surface. Debris and dust rained down from the blows that rained down on the floor. But Skipper was in no position to avoid them. He heard something crunch as a shard of concrete struck his leg at devastating speeds. What the hell was this? It was making a fool out of him. He reached the wall and tried to stand up, only to falter as he realized his leg was broken. Damn it, damn it, damn it! This was embarrassing as hell! He hadn't wanted to use this on such a lame enemy. The Hierophant's arms lashed at him as one, ready to deliver the killing blow. If he fired his shotgun, they would send it back. If he used his bayonet, they would block it. He had no doubt it had a countermeasure against a landmine now, too. Well, he had another trick in his bag, one he hadn't shown off before. Green feathers, transparent like glass, glinted across the room, where Skipper had been planting them as he dodged. Emerald aether sparked across their surface as they activated. The air seemed to hold its own breath. Countless blades protruded from the liquid metal arms, growing large in his vision, slowed down by focus and adrenaline. This thing was built to take apart gene tyrants. Skipper grinned, blood on his teeth. Don't compare me to some little gene tyrant. Heartbeat freedom! Estimated time to victory, imminent. Correction, no attacks had made contact. The Hierophant retracted its arms. You'll need to do the other hits. There you go. Looking at the ruined crater where Target had been lying. There was no sign of him. The blood that was there was what he had already bled. No new damage dealt. This did not follow. Based on Target's capabilities, he should have been unable to avoid that attack. The Hierophant checked its memory and found no clarification. Target had been there, and then he hadn't. Had he moved with such speed that not even the Hierophant's sensors could perceive it? The Hierophant retreated to the center of the room, hands morphing into shields to defend itself with. Arm L1 disabled. The Hierophant looked down to the control unit torn in two on the floor. The liquid metal slopped down a second later. The attack had been so quick that the polymorph had taken a moment to register. Arm L2 disabled. The Hierophant scanned. Something incredibly fast was moving, a green blurb with extreme capabilities. Arm L3 disabled. The Hierophant lashed out with its remaining two arms, forming a barrier of strikes around itself. Arm R1 disabled. Arm R2 disabled. The Hierophant spotted Target, flying above, visible for a moment. Green aether had coalesced over his shoulders, forming a shape like the wings of an angel, cracking around him like a thunderstorm. Target reacquired. Error, no means to attack Target. Recommend retreating to a safe distance and... Target lost. Damage sustained. Damage sustained. Damage sustained. Damage sustained. Damage sustained. Damage sustained. Estimated time to victory. Error. Victory, not possible. It was not understood. Shutting down. That's a good point. Like, no matter how smart the AI, I guess it can't comprehend for Aether, because Aether has infinite possibilities to defy, like, physics and, like, reality, which is very interesting.
If it had a chance, it could probably be adapted to that if it had time to, but...
Which in a way makes a highly skilled Aether user better than a Gene Tyrant, because a Gene Tyrant can turn into anything biological, but it still has to biologically function. And like an AI could account for that, but you can't really account for things that like break the rules of reality, which is very interesting. I like that. Skipper let out a deep breath, rising gingerly on his good leg, using a chunk of scrap as a makeshift crutch. The Hierophant was broken like an egg. Its liquid metal limbs spread uselessly across the floor, like slime, and its electronic innards spilled out of its shattered form. Sparks of electricity illuminated the space around it. Seemed like a hell of a repair job. At the very least, he'd managed to confirm that heartbeat freedom, the thing that would balance the scales against the Supreme, worked. Now, he called out to the room, how about we get down to business? For a moment, there was nothing but silence. Then, very well, the Apex Bishop growled. Join us in the garden. That was a good chapter. I have two very minor critiques, however.
Okay.
One, there was a part where you used rain down twice in quick succession.
I like that.
Alright, if you want to keep it, you can. The other is, I think it would have been cooler. I like the surprise of Heartbeat Freedom, but I think it would have been cooler if you had mentioned, even if it was just in one sentence, like planting the feather, even if you were vague about it, like Skipper lifted his hand and left a shard of green aether behind, or something like that. that like kind of made there be more build up than just I was doing that the whole time. But otherwise, I really liked that chapter. That was a cool fight, well choreographed. It was fun. I liked the bounce between the Hierophant and Skipper's perspectives. Cool stuff.
Thank you.
Also, I would remember to repost this edited version on the on Royal Road, because there were a lot of like it. Yeah. All right, but yeah, good stuff. What is your fun fact this week?
Fun fact, so the, let's call them the Arcana automatics back in the time of the Thousand Revolutions were not produced in order of the Arcana. The first one was actually Death, which was basically a factory that took up half a planet, small moon but still a planet, that was basically almost sapient and created the other ones, and then basically made replacements for them if they got destroyed.
I'll make a bargain with you.
Okay.
If you're willing. Because I originally wanted to say that Fool was the first one, but would you be willing to let me say that Fool was the first one made by Death?
Yeah, sure.
Deal. I'll take that. I like that, though. I really want to know more about these now. They're very cool. I'm excited to see what else you had in store. If you would indulge me one more, did Hierophant ever kill a Gene Tyrant? And if so,
yes.
Which Gene Tyrant?
Victoria the Chitin Knight he killed.
Damn. Nice one, Hierophant. That was mentioned, I think, actually, now that you say that, right? Because
Yeah.
I remember the Chitin Knight
But
as
each
a name.
one, most of them killed more than one.
Nice. Good job, Hierophant. How many Gene Tyrants would you say there were at, like, the height of the war?
Several thousand.
Several thousand. Very
But
interesting.
then they had all the infrastructure around us, them and all the gene sort of creations and all that, so their numbers are not really reflected in terms of the power they had.
Were there Arcana that were irreversibly destroyed, or have they all at least survived in some repairable capacity?
Death was irreversibly destroyed after the Thousand Revolutions when the automatics started going a bit rampagey.
Damn, just like Elden Ring. Am I right? Death
Exactly.
irreversibly. They took the rune out. Got him. Timely Elden Ring reference. Alright, well that was very cool. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye!